Hey guys, it's Keegan. Welcome to your latest reading with me. I wanted to talk to you guys for just a moment at the beginning about a couple of things. First thing is that during the month of May, I'm going to be doing weekly readings. And so this is the first round of 4 that you'll get from me during the month of May. I'm going to be taking a look at different things each week, and I'm inviting you to leave me suggestions or requests in the comments of these videos, letting me know what you would like for me to do for the second, third, and fourth weeks of this month. To kick things off in May, I decided to take a look at what is blocking you and take a look at energetically what's blocking you, use tarot to get more insight into that. And then beyond that, for the second, third, and fourth weeks, I'm really open to suggestions and requests from you guys. So please do let me know what you'd like to see me do. Before we move into the reading, I also want to let you know that I have a website now. I'm super excited to let you guys know this. It's keagankirk.com. I'll put all the information about the website below in the description box so you can check that out. And it's very exciting to me to have this officially launched. It's something that I've been working on for several months now. You can go there, keagankirk.com right now. I have created a special gift for you guys that you can get just by signing up on the website. And then when you scroll right below that, you will see a section where you can book personal readings with me. This has been by far one of the biggest requests that I've gotten from people, is to make the process of booking personal readings with me easier. And that is now possible. If you go to my website, you can select the type of tarot reading that you want with me. There are 3 types there. You can do a 30-minute or a 60-minute recorded session, which means I pre-record that on my own and send you the link. And I'm offering something that is pretty new, which is a live one-on-one session with me, which is 60 minutes. That means that you and I have a set date and time where we will connect live one-on-one. You can ask me questions as we're going through the reading. You can ask me to clarify specific things. You are much more in control of that reading in terms of where it goes, what we focus on, and all of that is available on the website. Again, I'm super excited about that, and I just wanted to share with you the excitement and share you some imagery of the website here at the beginning of the videos before diving into the actual reading. I will be sharing a special code at some point during the reading that will give you 30% off during the month of May for personal reading. So be sure that you watch the video through so that you can get that discount code. And again, thank you so much just for all the support, all the views, everything that you guys have done, all the positive feedback and comments, emails checking in on me and things, you know. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you and how much I'm looking forward to growing this channel and this community with you. And please do take a moment to check out the website and let me know what you think. Okay, let's move into your reading. Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading. As you can see, I already have some cards pulled. I'm using these cards to give me some insight into your current energy, what's going on with you in terms of blocks. There's a tarot deck that I've pre-shuffled. I will pull some tarot cards for you as well. And then we'll do an advice or guidance card at the end from a different oracle deck. So I want to just dive into your cards that have come out. This has been an interesting round of readings looking at blocks. For some signs, each of the cards felt to me like it was representing individual blocks. And for other signs, it's felt more like the 3 cards together are telling a collective story. And for you, Aquarius, I feel like you fall into the group where these cards feel a bit like they are more about a collective story. It feels like there's really one theme that is acting as a block for you currently. Now, the cards that you have out here are comparison, friendliness, and experiencing. And this would be equal to 5 of Swords, 2 of Cups, 3 of Wands in a traditional tarot deck. You can utilize this particular deck for those of you who are interested in the deck, the Osho Zen Tarot deck. You can use it as an actual tarot deck. I prefer to use this deck now. After many years of working with it, I prefer to use it as an oracle deck or as tools to help me connect intuitively to energy. So what I'm going to do in the first part here is going to be much more intuitive, just tuning into the energy and seeing what messages want to come through for you. I have to tell you, I'm going to start with the comparison card. This feels to me like something that is in a way its own individual issue. It's causing problems with the other 2 cards as well. It's connected to them. The comparison card is really about understanding that there's no need to make comparisons. There's no need to make a comparison between you and other people. There's no need to make a comparison between who you were versus who you are, or who you are and who you want to be. The truth of the matter is that comparisons they're pointless, right? The illustration here, which I actually really like the illustration on this card, you can see it's a bamboo compared to a tree. And, you know, in the actual like guidebook for this, when it talks about the meanings of the cards, it just talks about how, like, you know, trees don't compare themselves to one another. And the fact of the matter is sometimes bamboo is more resilient than, you know, a bigger, stronger tree, you know, and the ability to kind of like sway with the wind and bend without breaking, and not being uprooted is something that the bamboo actually has as a strength. And so even though a lot of times if you look and you just make a comparison and you would say, well, that tree's obviously bigger and it's stronger and it's you know, been here for longer, whatever the comparison might be, the comparison is a superficial thing. And I do sense energetically that you have been in your head about this, and it feels, and like I'm picking up two different like types of comparison. One of them really is comparing you to yourself. And like I said, for some of you that's flowing backwards, for others it's flowing forward. But it really does feel like it's kind of coming from a place of like there's judgment attached to it. So, you know, it's one thing to be present in the moment, present with who you are, present with the reality of your situation, present with the truth of whatever is going on in your life. And to then look at that present situation and say, okay, here are the things that I want to pull into my life. Here are the things that I want to eventually meet up with me in my present moment. This is how I'm going to start to shape my life. And that's where you really lean into visioning and doing manifesting work and getting clear about what it is that you're trying to attract to yourself. That's a healthy way of kind of like going into the future a little bit and saying, okay, well, 6 months from now, when I hit this point and that becomes my present, these are the things that I want to be sure are waiting for me there, right? And that's kind of how visioning works, right? Time passes and you're setting the intention that when you hit a certain point, it doesn't have to even necessarily be tied to time, right? You don't have to say 6 months, but you're saying, I'm attracting things to me as I'm moving through time, locked into the present. Because that's the thing, we're constantly locked into the present moment. We aren't able to jump into the future. We're not able to travel back in time. We're fixed, right? And so what we're saying is, as I'm traveling along this path, please attract this to me. Please attract this to me. Bring this to me. And as we travel, we collect those things as we go. What I'm sensing energetically, though, is almost this like, it feels in a way like a comparison that's going on in terms of like, how did I end up here? Right? And that's the way for me to sort of sum up the two different groups of you that I'm sensing. For those of you who are looking back, it really is about looking back at who you were and feeling that maybe you were happier, maybe you were doing better, maybe you were more successful, maybe you had more friends in your life in the past, and you're in the present and you're thinking, how did I end up here? How have I ended up? And I'm kind of starting to go ahead and talk about these two cards, right? How have I ended up where, you know, my friendships have fallen apart, or I don't have the romantic connection that I had for so long. A lot of you could be dealing with a situation where you had a very long-term relationship that ended, and you've realized that a lot of how you defined yourself, a lot of what made you who you feel you are, was tied up in that connection. Meaning being a wife, being a partner, being a parent, even for some of you. But it's this sense of looking back and saying, life was so much better before, or I was so much better before than I am now. For others of you, you're in the present moment and you're thinking about where you thought you would be. And you're saying, how have I ended up in this place where I don't have the career that I wanted, or I don't have the partner, I don't have the friends? What has gone on? And you're thinking about this future version of you that you want to have those things, but your focus is too far into the future. It's almost like you're daydreaming about it more so than doing the actual work of manifesting it. And it comes down to this notion of comparing. It's pointless to compare who you were to who you are now. It's pointless to compare who you are now to who you could be. The reason for that is because you can't go back and change who you were. You can't bring that person forward because you've been through things and you're different. You're not the same person. You're fundamentally changed. And in terms of what lies ahead of you, there are infinite possibilities ahead of you. Infinite. You might have latched onto one and said, well, why can't I be that? The truth of the matter is you can be that, but you have to do the work. You have to put in the work in order to make that happen. Okay? So comparing is something that I feel very strongly. So I wanted to start with this card more than anything else. The comparison that's happening is a big deal. And like I said, it's not even that you're comparing yourself to like a friend or a family member, or just comparing yourself to, other people that you know. It's not an outward sort of projection. It's inward. It's you comparing yourself to these other, I'm going to use quotes here, like idealized versions of yourself, and feeling like you don't measure up in some way. And energetically, it's really important that you shift that, right? Because if your energy and your thoughts are aligning to, I'm not enough, I don't measure up, then what you're doing is you're manifesting more situations for you to fall short, or to feel that you're not getting the success that you want. So you have to shift the way that you're thinking about yourself, and you have to find a way to put yourself into the present and be thankful for where you're at, and to realize that you have full control as you're moving forward, locked into the present, to navigate yourself onto many different paths ahead of you, and to really try to connect to what most matters to you. Taking away the comparison. Don't worry about what other people might think. Don't worry about what a past version of you might think. Don't worry if a future version of you seems like it's unattainable. You just have to believe, this is where I want to go. This is who I want to become. And I'm in the process of doing that every day of my life. Moment to moment during my day, I'm more and more becoming the version of the person that is the highest expression of me. That's the way to kind of like knock the comparison aspect of it out, right? So it's not about striving to become this one version of you. It's day to day living your life, moving yourself forward to figure out what it takes to express yourself in the highest way possible. And I hope that that makes sense. I feel kind of energetically, it's interesting for me when I do these readings, because I sense the energy shifting based on, what I've said, and I can kind of sense the energy of people who, this reading wasn't for me and they leave, or people who say, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I was doing that, but I am. I can sense that there is a little bit of understanding about this, because I think often when we think about comparison, we do think about comparing ourselves to other people. Why am I not as thin as that person? Why am I not as attractive as that person? Why don't I have the car that that person has? But the trickier type of comparing is when we're comparing ourselves to ourself, especially when we're dealing with like idealized versions. So I want to talk about these two cards kind of in combination. So friendliness and experiencing. I think one of the things that's actually happened to your Aquarius is, I feel a bit like you are isolated, and it doesn't necessarily feel like that is something that is fully by choice. I think it might have started that way, but it's gotten a little bit out of control, because I really do sense that your life has become a little bit, it's not even that it's empty, but it's just very disconnected. And what I mean by that is, I feel like there are people around you who want to be there for you. There are people around you who want to support you. There are people around you who care about you. There are people who want to engage with you, who want to make memories with you and share experiences with you. There are people who want to be a part of your life. Your own dissatisfaction with your life and where it's at right now has kind of caused you to deal with things that you don't need to be dealing with internally. Things like embarrassment, things like shame. It's almost like you feeling like your life isn't how you want it is almost making you say, well, when my life gets to where I want it to be, then I'm willing to engage with these people. Then I'm willing to do things and have fun things and have these friendships. But what's coming through for me energetically from the universe is part of the reason that you're in the spot that you're in is so that you can learn to lean on people, trust people, open up to people, even when you're not at your best. Because that's when you need those people the most. When you're not able to really push yourself or believe in yourself or motivate yourself, because you've kind of become down on yourself. You've developed this negative energy towards who you are and where you're at. Having people in your life that are able to say to you, no, you've got this, you're amazing, I believe in you, how can I help, what do you need, you can talk to me. Even though that kind of goes against your sign a little bit, to open up to people and to allow that to happen, it's part of what is getting in your way. you have to open yourself up. You have to allow yourself to have that support group. You have to like find your tribe. And you can even find other people who also hate being vulnerable, right? I don't, as a Scorpio, I don't necessarily enjoy being vulnerable with people. I don't enjoy opening up about things. I like to maintain my privacy. I'm very protective of who I allow into my life. Some of the best connections that I have, however, are with people who also feel the same way. And so we have an understanding of like, okay, I'm not really enjoying this, but I know I need to do it. Sometimes opening up emotionally, for me, I feel that it's almost like how, when people talk about like going to the gym and they realize, okay, as someone who doesn't necessarily like going to the gym, as someone who doesn't necessarily like putting in all that effort and sweating and having to do this and watch what I eat, I'm not going to go with someone who is a gung-ho nutritionist and tracks every calorie and runs 5Ks for fun. I need to find the person who's also like, I don't necessarily want to do this, but let's go anyway. Because you understand each other, you're able to connect, and it makes it feel less of a threat, right? So that's one thing that they're suggesting is there are lots of other people. There are lots of other signs. There are lots of other personality types. There are lots of other people around you who share your feelings about being a little bit uncomfortable to open up and let people in. And you can build those connections with those people because they'll understand that when you do turn to them, they have the understanding that that's a big step for you to really open up and to let people in. Okay, so energetically, like I said, I feel like it's just really one big thing. It's this is playing a role in it that's a little bit separate for me, because that's kind of what's led you to the place where you've started walling yourself off and not allowing people in, because like what I'm being shown visually, just to share with you, I'm trying to get better about just sharing like what I'm actually seeing in my mind as I'm talking to you guys. I'm actually seeing someone who, like, someone came and they knocked on their door and they barely opened the door and they poked their head through and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And they don't want to let the person into their house because maybe they feel like the house isn't clean enough, or they feel like, they don't have the best furniture or whatever it is. And that's what I'm sensing from you, just in terms of like life in general, right? It doesn't have to mean that you're ashamed of your furniture. It's just when someone approaches you, you're just sort of looking at them and saying, not right now. I'm not letting you in right now. Because this comparison that's going on in your mind about the state of things in your present, how things are, it's just preventing you from having those connections. You can't really break that until you have the connections and you have people in your life who are able to step in when they realize that that's what you're doing, and to remind you not to do it, right? So it's a cycle. There's a cycle going on here. Beyond that, though, I don't feel anything in terms of energy that's saying like you actually don't have people around you. I think there are people. I think there are established connections that you've just in a way been neglecting, or kind of like hiding away from them, or just doing just enough to maintain them without really being open and honest about what's going on with you internally. So there are existing connections, and there are also possibilities for new connections, new friends, people who really do understand and resonate with you. But you have to be open to them. You have to be open to them. And it's one of the things that's really holding you back from being able to, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, right? I'm doing these readings without really tuning into a focus of what your goal is. I'm just trying to see what the universe wants to share with you in terms of what's blocking you from that goal. So whatever your goal is, this is the key to being able to get traction and to break out of anything that feels like it's a rut. So let's move on to the tarot portion here. I did pre-shuffle this deck, but I'm going to shuffle it a couple of times on camera just to get these cards mixed. Do one more shuffle. We're going to take the top card and the bottom card. Mix them up a little more time. Do a cut. Your third card. And let's take a look and see what these cards are. We have the Queen of Swords upright. Look at this. Two of Cups reversed. coming out underneath friendliness, which is the Two of Cups. I'm telling you guys, there's an issue here. Let's see what this card is. Okay. Okay. I love that this card is here. I love that it's upright. It's a Nine of Cups, in case I don't think I said that. But the Nine of Cups is coming out here. That makes me really happy, just in terms of this reading in general. I'm going to start here, guys, with this Two of Cups, because I think it's so fascinating that it came out directly underneath this card. And I think that is just, for some of you, there might have been some hesitation around what I was saying about this, but you have to make these connections. You have to open yourself up. And, you know, the Two of Cups very often is associated with, you know, romantic love and that sort of connection. But as you can see in the Osho Zen deck, they utilize more of like friendliness. It's having that connection more so than anything else. Connections. Real connections. What they're saying to me here is that this Queen of Swords, I feel like one of the things that you know, I'm reading for Aquarius. Queen of Swords, it represents air sign energy. I really do feel like this is saying specific to you. Okay, so with the Queen of Swords, this card is upright, right? The Queen of Swords did not come out reversed. So I'm not worried about you, the people who are listening to me. I'm not worried about you being cold, like your default nature, who you truly are. You're not a cold person. You're not an unkind person. You're not overly mean. You're not overly critical. You aren't someone who is so in your head and so trapped in your logic that there's no room for you to be able to see another person's perspective. None of that. Because this card is sitting in front of me and it's upright. Okay? So you listening to me right now, there are things that are actually positives. Good things. Things that people appreciate about you. Things that people respect about you. That you have labeled, I'm pointing to the comparison card here, you've labeled these things as being obstacles that are preventing you from being able to have connections, right? If I'm looking at these four cards, there's one story going on here, and it's that you feel that certain things about you are bad things. But for me, doing this reading, these are actually things that attract people to you. Okay, so let's talk about that. What are those things? Number one, you are very self-sufficient. You're able to do things on your own. You're able to figure things out on your own. And people really do respect that about you. But it also causes some problems in your relationships. I am speaking from experience here. So let me just say 100% there's no judgment in what I'm about to say, right? I do this myself. But when people are close to you and you never turn to them for support, you never ask them for their opinion, you never need their advice, you never seem to have anything going on in your life that's causing you to be upset or sad, right? When you're hiding it and you're saying, I got this, I can deal with this on my own, I'm able to figure things out, I'm not gonna involve other people in stuff because I don't want them to know that I'm worried or anxious or concerned or lonely, whatever it is, right? that being really self-sufficient, being able to care for yourself, it is something that people respect about you, but it's also something that makes people tend to not want to come to you because you don't come to them. And so they don't want to come to you and burden you with their stuff and say, gosh, you know, I really need help because my relationship's falling apart and I don't have money to pay my bills and I don't know what I'm going to do. And one of my parents is sick and I'm so stressed out and I just need to talk to someone. And I sense that you actually do, sincerely, I feel this, you want to have that sort of connection with people. You want to be someone that people can turn to when they need you. That's one of the things that I love about your sign is that you're so invested in trying to help people who need help. But people are unlikely to turn to someone and ask for help if that person seems like someone who never struggles. Okay? Now, the other thing here that I want to say is I do sense that you're someone who's very honest. I feel like you're someone who makes boundaries very clear. And for the wrong people, right? For the wrong people, those are things that will absolutely be labeled as problems. But for actual true friendships, actual true connections, knowing that this person is always going to be honest with you, knowing that this person is going to make it clear what is and is not okay so you don't have to guess. Those are good qualities. I'm sensing what's coming through here for the people who are still hanging out with me and listening. And when I say that, I just want to clarify, because sometimes people comment and they're like, don't worry about who's still hanging out. I'm not worried about it. I understand people, they decide that wasn't for me, or they hear enough and they're like, that's all I need to hear, or life pulls them away. When I say the people who are still listening to me, is because I have an awareness that has shifted, right? The number of people who started listening to me, the number of people who are still here with me 20 plus minutes in, is going to be different, right? So I'm sensing, though, that there's this comparison thing. It stems from a connection that you had where someone really, really laid into you about being cold and unfeeling and, cruel, right? They came at you and they were like, you're all of these things. And you couldn't really necessarily argue against them because you kind of think about yourself that way too. So then what happens is that you internalized it. But energetically, I'm telling you, you're the Queen of Swords upright. There isn't a reversal here. The qualities that you possess, they're good and they're healthy. Now I want to move on to this card just to wrap this part of this up. So as I mentioned, the Nine of Cups came out here, and I'm super happy that it's upright. And this is just that card of just wish fulfillment, happiness, your dreams coming true, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, good health, good money, good career. It's just everything that we're hoping for, we're being given. And I do think that this is what is really wanting to happen for you, but this stuff's getting in the way, right? The universe is saying to you, look, I'm giving you everything you want. You've asked to have people go away, I've taken people away. You've asked to be alone, I've made you be alone. You've asked to, whatever it is. And the universe is saying, I'd really rather gift you amazing connections. I'd really rather gift you, a career that you're super happy with. But you have to stop making these comparisons and selling yourself short, or making yourself feel like you've fallen short in some sort of situation. And you have to let people in. You have to open yourself up. The universe is asking you to show people who you truly are, and to understand that if it doesn't work, that person wasn't for you. The people who are for you will appreciate who you are. Okay? So, Aquarius, let's pull your advice or guidance card here. Shuffle this a little bit. I do just want to remind you, my website is live. I'm going to share the code here. If you put in code VIEWER, that's going to give you 30% off any of the pricing for personal readings on my website. You can go to keaghankirk.com to check the website out to see all the offerings for personal readings if you're interested in exploring this or anything else with me one-on-one. And I'm super excited that is an option that I have for you guys now, because I know in the past booking with me was a little bit of a hassle, going back and forth and trying to get everything nailed down. Now that the website's there, you can pick a date, you can pick a time, you can pick what type of reading you want, you can pay, you can send the questions, everything through the website. It makes it much more streamlined and faster for everyone. So please do go check that out. All right. Any advice or guidance for Aquarius, please? All right. So Aquarius, it says, when I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. The universe really is wanting to form a connection with you, Aquarius, but this is the thing. When you're isolating people, when you're isolating and you're keeping your energy pulled in and you're not really opening up, you're also shutting yourself off a little bit from the universe. Very often the universe comes in to interact with us through other people, through our connections with other people. A lot of times we learn the most about ourselves through our interactions and connections with other people, seeing how other people view us and seeing if that aligns with who we think we are, or if there's some sort of a conflict between who people think we are and who we think we are, and looking at that and saying, well, is their opinion of me better than what I think of myself? Is their opinion of me somehow more negative than how I think about myself? It doesn't mean that other people's opinions should carry more weight than your own opinion, but you're missing out on metrics, you're missing out on data, you're missing out on the opportunity to interact with someone who serves as a mirror for you, right? So beyond anything else, Aquarius, the universe is wanting you to open up, make connections, really work on establishing connections, trusting other people, allowing people in, being really authentic with who you are, allowing people to see that, and understanding that if people don't like it, they just don't like it. They're not your people. Let them go. There is a lot waiting for you, both in terms of connections with people and the life, the memories that you make, the experiences that you have. You just have to open yourself up to it. Believe that you deserve it. Believe that you're capable of not only establishing these connections, but maintaining them. Okay? So Aquarius, if this resonated with you, please take a moment, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment for me. I love reading the comments. I respond to as many of them as I can in the time that I have in between filming different things and doing personal readings. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment just to hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. It helps the videos reach more people. And it makes me feel like I am making progress here rather than sort of getting lost in the sea of the various readers on YouTube. So thank you for hanging out with me. I love you guys a lot, and I will see you next week. I'm going to do weekly readings during the month of May. Okay.